What's up guys, my name is Sebastián and welcome to another episode of Seba Reviews. For today's review, we're going to review the latest movie that came out on HBO Max. It is also in theaters apparently, but I don't know who's watching it in theaters, I'll be honest. Like, who's going to theaters nowadays? I don't know who. Maybe for Godzilla King Kong, maybe, but other than that, why would you? Why would you really? The movie I'm talking about today is a movie starring Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, Judas the Black Messiah.
Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton of the Illinois Black Panther Party.
Repeat after me. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary.
You're looking at 18 months for the stolen car.
So this movie, man, I was pumped to watch it because I was intrigued. I kind of need a movie like this with, starring a predominantly black cast, going back to the 70s, going back to the civil rights era of the late 60s to the early 1970s. And of course, focusing on the Black Panthers. Like, I kind of wanted to see a movie like that, especially with actors like Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield and more other actors that we can see later on in this movie. I'm like, man, I cannot wait to see what happens here. And visually, it looks appealing to me. Like, cinematically, the cinematography looked pretty good. So I couldn't wait to see what they did here. I have no idea what the plot was about, but this is actually based on a true story about this guy who's recruited by the FBI to basically infiltrate the Black Panthers. I mean, think about it, it's like the reverse Black Klansman. Instead of infiltrating the KKK, they're infiltrating the Black Panthers. But not only that, it's a black man infiltrating the Black Panthers, which is, you're like, how is this even a thing? Like, why is a black person trying to infiltrate for the FBI on a Black Panthers? Like, why would this person do that? And apparently, in the 60s and the 70s, man, like, the government was trying to infiltrate every racial group ever. Like, oh, the KKK also infiltrated the Black Panthers. Like, they just wanted to be everywhere and stop everybody. But as you kind of see, they stopped the Black Panthers, but not the KKK. So I thought this would be like the Black Klansman movie, which I really enjoyed the hell out of that movie. Great stuff. I love a lot about that movie. Not like that movie, which has some humor into it, although there's a lot of dire and real life issues that they tackle on, which sometimes they tuck you in the heartstrings, and it is tough to watch. But here it's not so much about that. It's really more straight-laced, it's more serious, it's not any humor per se. There's a little levity with the characters having just a moment between themselves, but not really like a humorous conversation at all. It's just them having a good time, at least through some brief moments. But yeah, I didn't really come in with the idea that, oh, this will be like the Black Klansman. It sounds like, premise-wise, sounds the same. But I really want to know, like, the story's kind of interesting. But all I was really interested more about this movie is going back to this era and seeing this issue. I mean, it's been repeated like a lot of times in film, but I don't know, it's just something I kind of wanted to see now. I kind of wanted to see this represented again. Like, I don't know, I for some reason, I was just very interested in this. I needed to watch this movie. I wanted to watch this movie. It just intrigued me. I especially wanted to see what Daniel Kaluuya brought to this movie. I just wanted to know, like, what did he do? Something a little bit more different than I've seen him in films so far, which, he's great in everything. I mean, the Black Panther movie, he was good, and he was okay. He wasn't bad, but he didn't really have much to work with in that movie. So I wanted to see what he brought in here, but I was just interested, and I couldn't wait to see what was in this movie. So what the premise is about this man infiltrating the Black Panthers. The movie's not really about that man, it's really about the man that he is sent to stop. It does balance both storylines, but it really ultimately is a little bit more about the man who is Frederick Hampton, who's a famous leader of the Black Panther movements in Chicago. Like, I didn't really, beforehand, I kind of heard maybe the name, but I didn't know really, I think anything about the guy. So it was good to see firsthand and kind of have some knowledge. So I appreciate the movie for that, for gaining some knowledge that I did not have previously. And while a lot of times like movies based on true stories are not factually correct, sometimes they're manipulated just for dramatic purposes or just to make it interesting. I believe there are moments that maybe didn't really happen the way they put them in the movie just to keep things moving forward or interesting. But I think I have to believe that a lot of things in here really did happen, especially since a lot of moments are actually, you know, what happened. Like they actually kind of mimicked what really happened. So that's interesting. So I believe a lot of things in here are true. I don't believe that he just made a lot of moments, like just made shit up. I don't think so. Except little maybe moments or just conversations with some people, which is fine, I guess. Well, this movie's not like super packed with some great moments that keep you like invested and you're just like, you keep going at a fast pace. It's not like maybe like the Black Klansman or other movies like that where there's a lot of stuff like the way that it was shot, the way they slice some things in there to keep things interesting. This movie's more along the lines of traditional cinema, but I still enjoy it. There's a lot of the story here that I did enjoy, a lot of performances that I did enjoy here. Like Daniel Kaluuya, I felt he was great in this movie. It's probably like one of the best performances he's ever done that I've seen. Like he was great. Like he sold me with his charisma, his speeches, the way even out of the side of the platform that he does public speaking, him just talking to other people, like you're just sold by whatever he says. You're like, yeah, sure, I'm in completely for what you want me to do. Yes. Like he sells that performance of a guy that is inspiring and you just want to follow. And yes, you can say a lot of lines that can be inspiring, but if you don't come off as inspiring yourself, it's not going to work. And Daniel Kaluuya did a great job with that performance. Incredible. Sometimes when they put like a British actor to do an American character, sometimes, you know, accents are like really off. But in this case, he did really good with that. Like I didn't hear anything like a British accent slip out. It sounded great. I'm like, wow, holy shit. He did an amazing job. And the character himself was very well done here. I really enjoyed him. He's somebody that I just, anytime he came up, I'm like, I just want to see him. And times that he doesn't show up, I'm like, man, I kind of want to know what he's doing. Like how is he? Because I really enjoyed him through the performance and the writing. And Lakeith Stanfield, I think he did a great job as well. At the beginning, when the character showed up, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this guy. Like, why is he doing this? Like, he comes off as somebody who does not really care about having black civil rights, and just like, he's just there. He just cares about himself, and that's about it. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about a guy. Like, I'm supposed to care about this person? Maybe you're not supposed to care, but I'm like, I'm just gonna not like him. But throughout the movie, I really enjoyed what he did. I saw his growth as a character and seeing him just being between two worlds, between working for the FBI and being on the cover for the Black Panther. So there's a lot of sympathy you can get from him. Although there's a lot of moments in the beginning you're like, just doesn't really care about the civil rights movement or anything. At least for me, I kind of grew to learn to kind of like him. So I really enjoyed seeing the character. I enjoyed seeing the struggles that he's going through, and seeing his arc. I think it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. From a character I wasn't sure about from the beginning, but I grew to like him, and this is like one of the best things I've seen Lakeith Stanfield in. Because, you know, people keep hyping him up, and not that he's a bad actor, but the things I've seen him, I'm like, I don't know what people are talking about. But this is one of those movies that I really enjoyed his performance, and I thought he was great. I mean, cinematically, it's very well done. Again, it's very straight-laced, it's very basic storytelling. But I do like how they tackle stories. I do like how they tackle some of these characters and minor characters. I do like seeing, for example, Frederick's like love interest. I like seeing her. I think the way that the chemistry between them is amazing. It's really good. I bought it. I bought the relationship, and I like seeing the growth from just meeting each other to having more than that and beyond. I really enjoyed that. I do think they tackle a lot of important historical moments, even Frederick's life. You know, some things that I thought like maybe they could just cross over and kind of like, oh, this is not interesting for film, let's just not put this here. No, they do it. They put it in here because I think they know that this is very important. I think Shaka King, who also co-wrote the movie, I think he knew what was important to put in this movie and not kind of gloss over facts that we kind of need to see. And Shaka King, man, I think he did a good job with the writing, who also co-wrote the movie with Will Burson. I think they did a great job of making this world, and I kind of got sucked in this era of Chicago and seeing the different sides of the story. Although it's mostly on the Black Panther side, we don't really see much about what the FBI is doing. We do see some stuff like, for example, Jesse Plemons's character, who, man, at the beginning I was like, okay, he seems to be the good guy in this pool of bad people on the FBI. But then by the end, I kind of felt like, was he even a good guy at the beginning? Like, what was good about him is that maybe there's a lot of stuff that he felt is the right thing or is good. Like, maybe he believes these things in his head. But by the end, I'm like, man, you constantly tell me some stuff, but I don't think you're this good guy that you think you are. I don't think so. So he was great in that stuff, and he was not in the movie a lot, but I really enjoyed seeing him in the movie. He's just so good at being like a slimy, kind of malicious, kind of scary dude. And the story, I really enjoyed the story, although like the plot of the basic story of like the infiltrator, Judas, that's not really what the story is about. But the whole undercover like angle is not really what's important. It's not even on the forefront that much. It's really about the Black Messiah, Frederick Hampton, and seeing the struggles, seeing like the different issues they have to fight for, the different people they have to confront. Like, it's really about him, but also seeing how Lakeith Stanfield's character like deals with the situation. And then, you know, this is a guy who wasn't trained to be an undercover agent. Like, he's just sent to do this job. Man, seeing the stuff he has to do and seeing how he feels about some things throughout the movie, it's hard. And you know, every time there's a movie where somebody has to like infiltrate an agency and then like they meet the person that they take down, they have to act like they're friends and stuff. It's always mostly hard to see this movie because you know that by the end shit's about to go down most times. So it's like, man, I kind of know what's gonna happen, but I'm still enjoying what they're going through and seeing this interaction with, yes, the relationship between them, although we really don't see them interact that much. I really liked it because Lakeith Stanfield character is supposed to be this like one of like the troops in that group who does grow up in the ranks, but he's not supposed to be like, oh, the best friend of Frederick Hampton, nothing like that. But he does grow to be warmed up by Frederick Hampton, and you know, it's somebody who's important to the group, like very much so later on in the movie. And even if this movie's like almost over 2 hours long, it didn't feel long. I mean, it feels like 2 hours, but it didn't feel like I'm tired. Just like, you know, it's a little bit longer than an hour and maybe 20 minutes or something. But it was kind of like a breeze to me. I just enjoyed everything. I enjoyed the different stories. They do cover a lot of stuff chronologically. Really enjoyed the whole story, the conflicts. I just seeing the character of Frederick Hampton and seeing how he inspires people and how he works and stuff he has to go through was very good to see. The cast as well, you know, it's very well done. From Deborah Johnson, played by Dominique Fishback. I mean, she's wonderful in the movie. Like I said, Jesse Plemons. Martin Sheen is in this movie, who plays Edgar J. Hoover. From the moment you see him, I'm like, oh my god, that looks really bad. That looks so ugly and kind of monstrous. But later when we see in the movie, again, he's not really in the movie that much. But the times that you see him again, like, okay, I can tell it's a lot of plastic on his fucking face, but I can get past it. It's not something that was like deteriorated the movie or the experience or his performance to me. It just obviously doesn't look very real, but it just, from the beginning, I kind of breezed through that. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's not that bad. But even like the minor characters, the supporting cast from Algie Smith, who plays Jake Winters, and Dominic Thorne, who plays Judy Horton, like the moments that they come in and out of the movie, the stuff that they have to do, I really enjoy them, and seeing their work for the cause of Black Panthers, I enjoyed them. It's just there was necessary to keep the movie and the story going forward and seeing why things happen and the stuff that happens with them and stuff like that. It's good. It was enjoyable. It was interesting and very compelling. So while it's not a movie that's super creative with its filmmaking and maybe its storytelling, which again, I do appreciate they did not twist some things just to make things interesting. I do like that they put the story for what I think it's mostly how it went through. I do kind of would have liked to see maybe something a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit creative with maybe like the camera work or something. But even then, it's not bad. I think it was, although it's like pretty basic with the filmmaking, I think the writing sells it a lot. The visuals, the costumes, everything, the cinematography is great. It's just like the film itself, the way like the editing and stuff like that, it's just basic. And not saying basic that it's bad. It's just there's nothing that like stands out from it. You know, like I saw this movie, I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's gonna be one of those movies that it'll be in the back of my memory forever. Like it'll be probably in my memory for a couple months, and I don't know if I'll forget about it. It's not one of those movies I'm like, you know what, like damn, this movie, it just hit me. You know, it's not like, and I watched this movie recently, Sorry Not to Bother You, I watched it the same day. That's a movie that'll probably be in my memory for quite a while because it was very creative and it has its own identity. I think really the purpose of this movie is just to show us the story of Fred Hampton, which, yes, I didn't know that they've never done a story with him. I mean, I don't know, maybe if he's been in other things, but I don't think they've ever, and yes, they confirmed they've never done a film about that man. And it's something that we kind of need to see, especially around these pretty horrific times. So I think that's the whole objective, is not to make anything like stand out like visually or anything like that. It's just like to tell the story that needed to be told. And it's very good. Performances are good. Writing is great. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I'm gonna give this movie a 9 out of 10. I think it was great, like amazing movie. Like I said, it's pretty traditional in filmmaking. It's not something that like wow stood out a lot, but I really enjoyed my time with the movie. I love the characters. I love the performances. I mean, not that I want to compare it, but BlacKkKlansman is a much better movie in my opinion. I think they did a lot of stuff in there, although sometimes it could be a little easier because you deal with racism quite directly. Although not that they don't tackle racism here, but we don't deal with like the KKK and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But there are a lot of like racist like elements in here from the people they have to deal with, especially like the police, which my god, some stuff in there I'm like, ugh. So there are some like heartfelt moments, and there's some like stuff that like I don't know if it'll make you mad. For this movie I didn't feel like outraged. It's just stuff that I've kind of used to seeing, unfortunately. I'm not saying like that's normal. I'm just saying like stuff that I've seen like in film and stuff. It's not like BlacKkKlansman where, you know, they put some stuff like on the forefront, especially like by the ending you're like, fuck man, like it just feels sad. I feel like shiver. There's a lot of moments in this movie and that whole movie that it just boils you up, and it's not the case here, at least for me. But yeah, I really enjoyed the movie, and I think it was great. It was a great, like a very well done movie. So what do you guys think about the Judas and the Black Messiah film? Do you guys enjoy the movie? Do you guys like the movie? Did you guys not like it? Did you hate the movie? Like, let me know what you think about it. What you think about the characters, the performances, the direction, the writing. Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about the film. If you want more reviews from me and other movies and other television and games and stuff like that, please like this video, share this video, and subscribe for more reviews from me. And if you want different, very wide content, subscribe here and you'll see a lot of different content. So my name is Sebastián Sierra, and yo seguiré aquí hablando shit.